here in this project and I'm going to create that file under the utils folder. Right click on this util folder. There will be one option called a new file and we'll create a folder called file called formatter.js. That's it. Make sure that extension of that file is .js. OK, so once you create the formatter file, sorry, 1 second. So let's create. So this would be your formatted file. OK, so the next step is. So next step is now copy the code. Copy code of any controller.js file and paste in formatter.js file. So now inside the formatter, what would be the change? So just copy, just go to any random controller file, for example, app, and I'll just copy this code as it is. Now let's go back to the formatter and paste that code. OK, so once you paste, this is how your formatter.js file will look. OK, so this is how your formatter.js file will look after pasting this code. Right. So once you paste this code, OK, once you paste this code, this is how your formatted.js file will look. Now within this formatted.js file, we have to remove unnecessary code which is not required. OK, now remove code which is not required. And after it will so now let's go back. Now from here, now within this formatted.js file, what is not required? What is not required? So first of all, we don't need this controller. So just remove that. OK, next thing you can see there is one function for base controller. Remove that. OK, so we'll see what we can remove from here. So first of all, we have this trick and you can see this. There is a return keyword, right? So this function we required. So let it be as it is. And now this return keyword is there, right? And you can see this object is closing here and this is the curly brackets of that function. And after the return, whatever it's there. So this base controller, this extend, it is closing at this line number, right? So just remove this code till here. OK, now just keep the opening brackets of this function. Keep this use trick as it is, and there should be one return keyword. Now after the return keyword, just use opening and closing this curly brackets. OK, just add an object structure. Now inside the object structure, we have to add a formatted method names. OK, that is the syntax. OK, so that is the syntax. Just 1 second, guys. Yeah. OK, so once this is how our formatter file should look as an in the initial level. OK, so at the initial level, this is how our formatter file should look. So let me take a screenshot now. Okay, so this will be our formatted file now. Okay, so after removing all that code, it this is how it will be displayed. Okay, now within this formatted.js file, now before we add anything, let it be as it is. Okay, let it be as it is. Now next thing is what we have to do. Next thing, we have to use this formatter. We have to provide this formatted details to controller.js file. OK, so far this formatted.js file is ready, but we yet to add the method which will basically format those date of sale values. So one method we need to add. So we didn't added that method as of now. So we need to add that. OK, so just 1 minute. Yeah. So to add now that formatted function. So first of all, yeah. So before we add, so let's provide this formatted details to controller.js file. So first of all, let's understand. So this formatted function, I need to call on this table. OK, I need to call that formatted function on the table and where on column date of sale. And we already know this table, it is a part of product details, right? So this table is already a part of product detail.view.xml file. And now for this XML file, which is the associated controller file. So product details is the associated controller file. So that's why we need to provide this formatted details to controller file first. And with the help of controller file, that information will be passed to the view.xml file for formatting purpose. So that is how the formatter will work. So every time you create a formatter, provide that formatter information to the controller, and through controller, that information will be passed to view.xml file with the help of binding, with the help of data binding. OK, so first let's go back to the controller.js file. Now here we have to load the path of formatter. So where is the formatter file is located? It is located inside the utils folder. So we already have this path. So I'll copy this path as it is and I'll paste it here. So now we already know the folder name, right? So dots are not used in the module declaration. And instead of that, I'll use utils slash, I'll basically add formatter. That's it. So this is how I'm loading the formatter in the controller. Now pass this formatter information to this function. OK, so after passing that, so before on init, OK, so on init, it is declared on line number 12. So before on init, we have to pass a formatter colon formatter. Now this formatter is coming from the above property. And the formatter which I declared, the property name, this is user defined formatter. You can give any name, but not to just not to have any confusion, I kept the same name similar to the parameter which I passed as a formatter. So I kept the same name, but this name you can give any name. OK, you can also give like custom formatter or something like that. OK, so this is one name which I have added here, formatter colon formatter. Now using this formatter keyword, I can you simply call any formatter function inside the XML file. OK, so I can easily call a formatter function inside the XML file. So far it's guys, any questions here? OK, so this property, it now see this we have added inside the controller. Now controller is already a part of view because it has the one-to-one relationship. So whatever we pass to the controller, so indirectly that information is already available to view.xml file. So that's why I can declare that I can load that formatter file in controller.js file, and through that I can pass this information to XML file. OK, so this is the steps that we have to do. So let me add a steps here. Now, fourth step is load Formatter.js file inside controller.js file as below. Okay, so this is our formatted file now. Yeah. So this will be your formatter, and second thing, this will be your actual code for the formatter. So these two parts are there which we need. So I'll add it here. Okay, that's it. Now, after loading this formatter, now what is the next step? Now, let's add a formatter function to format date of sale values. So now we have to add a method, a formatted function, which will basically format that date of sale values. Okay. Now inside the return, I will add format date sale. So this will be my function. Now this function will carry the date of sale information. So this is the date of sale details. And now here we need to write a logic, the date of based on the date of sale value. OK, so to format a date of sale. So we already know, like as Venkut told, that we can simply split the string in three equal parts. And after that, again, we can reconcatenate. That one we can do. But instead of that, the best way that we can achieve this is with the help of date formatter. So there we have an API. You can go to demo kit. You can go to API reference, and there will be one function called date time instance. OK, so our date format is also there. We have date format, I guess. Date. Yeah, we have a date format. So you can simply go to API reference, and there will be one library for date format. So this library we have to use. So let me copy this library, or we have a module here. I'll copy this module. I'll load that module on the top here under the module section. So we'll pass this date format in this function as a parameter. And now through this, we can simply call a format, right? So now I'll write it here. If we have date of sale value, because why I'm adding if condition, because for a couple of rows, date of sale value is blank, right? So I want this logic to be executed only if we have date of sale value. If it is not available, then in that case, it should not be executed, right? That piece of code, it should not work in that case. That's why I've added if date of sale value is there, then only we need to do that. So here, first we need a date format. And now here we already have date format. So I'll copy date format. So constructor is not there for this. We simply need to call. Now we need to format on date, right? We don't need format to be on time. So we have one method called date instance. So this is how, like, we need to format. And within that format option, if you go to the format option, we have a property called pattern. So in that pattern, you can pass any pattern which you want, and then accordingly your date will be formatted. So we need date format dot get date instance, and inside that we need one pattern. So pattern is already there. Now which pattern we need? We need dd. We need dd hyphen hyphen YYY. So this is what the pattern I need, that date to be formatted. right? So to format this again, I need date value, o date equal to, then I'll write new date, and inside new date, I'll pass date of sale value directly. And now we'll get a date object in this o date. And now using this date object, so we'll do the format o date format dot. One function is there for this date format. That function called is as format. See, so first we need a date object, and using the date format instance, you can call a method get date time instance, and after that format, and inside that you can pass o date. So this one we call we need. OK, and inside that we already have a date format. That's it. And this value we have to return. OK, this value we have to return back once this function is called. So we'll keep a breakpoint and it will be more clear. So let's add debugger. Let's add a debugger here now. Inspect. Now let's see whether it stops or not in that case. OK, so as I said, OK, it will not stop because guys, we didn't added this method right as of now. Method is added, but we need to call this method on XML file. OK, so this is our second step. So like after creating the formatted file, we loaded that formatted file in controller, and now we added the formatted function as well. And now we need to call, the last step would be we need to call this format date cell in XML code. OK, and where we need to call, we need to call that on date of sale binding. Wherever we have binded date of sale, because that formatter function will receive the value of date of sale as a parameter, as an argument. And then based on that date of sale only our logic will work. So now how to call that? So first of all, let me add this a code. OK, so this is your date of sale now. So after adding a date of sale, now the last step would be call formatted function in view.xml file for date of sale binding. So there we need to call that, OK, for date of sale. So what will be the binding syntax for that? So let's go back here. Now see, this is the date of sale. So first the path that we have. OK, so there is one standard syntax. So whenever you want to pass any formatter, OK, whenever you want to pass any formatter, so make sure that this first path that we have added, it should be added under the path property. OK, like this. And after that, give comma, and then I'm adding one more property called format dot, then formatted property name. So what is a formatted property through which I need to call a formatter? This is the property. OK, it is a user defined property. So now this we need to call here dot formatter, and after that dot formatter function name. So format date cell. That's it. This is the syntax to call any formatted function in view.xml file. OK, so this is the standard property path and formatted. This both are the standard properties, but inside the single quote, this is the formatter function that we have, and this one we have already declared inside controller.js file as a property. OK, so Okay, so if you want, I can change this name so that it would be more clear. So this is the custom formatter, and I'll add this custom formatter here. That's it. Now it's clear. Okay, so I'll add this this also, like, wait, I'll add this screenshot. I'll replace the earlier one. I know that it's little bit confusing, so I'll remove that and ensure that I'll add this. Okay, so that it would be more clear. Fine now. So yeah, so the formatter that we called, where is that formatter? This is the formatter that we called. So now we simply need to copy this code. Now we need to call that formatter here. Okay, so this is the formatter that we called, and now let's see the output. So 100% our formatted value is already, like, the format that we added inside dd, and yyyy. So that date is already formatted in the output. Can you see now the output? It's already formatted. See, it's already formatted. So let's put a breakpoint and let's understand how it works. So now where is our formatted file? It is under utils. Open that formatted.js file and you can see the breakpoint is already there. Now let's reload this app. So we don't have to add any for loop for this. So this formatted function will be triggered, or it will be invoked for every row. Like if I have 100 records, and within 100 records, if I have 100 date of sale values, so for every row, this formatted function will be triggered. OK, so now inside this formatted date of sale, now it's calling for the first value. And what is the first value? The first value is 2017, 03 and 26. So once we pass, so we already have this value, so it will go inside this if loop, if condition, and it will create a date instance. So this is our ODate format. Now you can see within this ODate format, we have a details for each and everything. See, so this date format, this API or this library is specifically designed for, specifically designed on for working on date or time values. Whenever you want to work with date, time, month, anything, so you can always go ahead and you can use this date format. But if you are going with JavaScript, then in JavaScript, we have to do it manually. OK, we need to call each and every method manually, and based on that you can format, but it's a better way. Instead of going with the core JavaScript library concept, you can use this UI5 frameworks library called date format, and using that you can easily format any date values. So this is the standard library that we have to use. So using this ODate format, it will basically the date object that we get. See, within this ODate, we will get the date object. OK, and then for every format. So for formatting this date value, we always need date object, and that date object you can get it by writing a code new date. And within this new date, we can simply pass that date of sale 2017, 03 and 26. So once we pass this, then only we can get a date object, and we need to pass that date object inside the format method. Then only our format will be done. OK, OK, guys. So once we see, this is how the format that will get as output, and that value is written. So this format function, it is called for every row. See, it is getting called for every row. Before your output is displayed, it will be called. And once everything is done, your values will be updated on the screen. Now it's clear, guys. So just do one practice. It would be more clear once it is done. Any questions here? Tell me what you haven't understood so far. Any questions, guys? Don't be silent. Just tell me, like, if you're not able to understand, I can explain that. But this one is very important, and without that, we can't do anything. So this is like a mandatory one. So we worked on the custom formatter now, guys. The formatter, that concept that we have seen, this is a custom formatter. So apart from custom formatter, there are also some standard formatters. But when we go with the standard formatter, it has some limitations. So mostly developers will use the custom formatter. And it's not about only formatting date values. So you can also write a logic if you want. You can format any number also using this date formatter. So there are so many other things that you can do. Okay, guys, is it clear? Okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break here till 10:30, and after that 10:30 we'll start with the expression binding concept now last. Okay. So we'll start with the expression binding. So that expression binding will be explained hardly in 10 to 15 minutes. So we are done with today. So
Yeah,
today,
one thing,
Mhm.
yeah, one thing that format already is a method, right? And we are already written the format date, right? Only
Mhm.
thing with the pattern, because likely whatever the pattern we require, if it is like MM, and DT,
Mhm.
for that only we just mention here. Otherwise, it's not required, right?
Yes, otherwise it is not required. See, whenever like if you're working on the format part, you want to do the format, then make sure to assign this pattern, like which pattern you want. Like instead of this hyphen, if I need slash like this. So this is my
That is
date
pattern.
value or the pattern.
And what is data of sale means it is mandatory to write, or it is just means
This is the
the variable
parameter.
you
See,
are asking, right?
no, 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 no. Wait.
No.
So you can see I'm calling this formatter on date of sale property. So for this function, for this format date sale function, we have to pass date of sale value. Okay. So indirectly, you're calling this format function on this date of sale data binding. So when you're calling that formatter function, so make sure to add one property or declare one property, and this property or this parameter will carry that value, data of sale value. Okay, so this data binding value, whatever that value is there, that value will be passed to this function format date cell
Okay, means there
on
is a
that part.
parameter we required for this
Yes,
function,
for
right?
that we need a
And
parameter. So if you're
okay,
not
is it is
passing any
like a null.
parameter, yes, I'm saying if you're not passing this parameter, how you can get the value of data of sale?
Okay, okay,
You will
yeah,
not get, right? So that's why we
yeah,
have passed this. You can give any name to this parameter, does not matter.
okay.
Okay, see, I've just added a slash now. Can you see the format now? It got updated. Now let's say if I need a month, so I can add one more mm. So what will happen in this case? So I'll give this format. So now let's see the output. See now,